Hey guys, so in this video we're going to get into a couple of characteristics that you should be looking out for when you're choosing products for your store. So as you can see the list here, I've highlighted a couple of them in red, and what that means is the red ones are going to be characteristics that you should always look for no matter how advanced you are at selling. And the black ones are just going to be ones that you should follow when you're starting out, but then as you become more advanced and get better at selling things, then you don't have to stick to these characteristics if you do not want. They're just easy things to follow in the beginning to help mitigate problems you might run into and things like that. So the first characteristic that you want to look for in products is that they are not infringed, and this is something you should always follow no matter how much experience you have. And by infringed, I mean that it doesn't have a trademarked logo or anything on it. So like if you were selling like Star Wars stuff or stuff with NFL teams logos and stuff on there, you don't want to do that because it's not really a long-term strategy, and you can get in trouble doing that unless you're going to go directly to the company and get the licensing. Then you just want to avoid that altogether. The second thing is to stay away from electronic items, and I only say this for people that are relatively new just because electronic items from China can sometimes be faulty. So when you're shipping them out to customers, you may get a little bit more complaints that the item didn't work, and this is just because the items in China are not always of the highest quality, and that's not always the case, but sometimes it is. So in the beginning, it's sometimes smarter to just avoid the electronic items to avoid any headaches. But as you get more comfortable with selling and you figure out what you're doing, you can always move into electronic items because they are good to sell and there is money to be made. It's just a headache to avoid in the beginning. And the next characteristic is going to be an item that is small and lightweight. And this is for pretty much the same reasoning as the electronic items. It's just less headaches when it comes to shipping, when it comes to customs processes and everything. There's just going to be less of a chance that the item's going to break. The shipping costs are usually going to be less, so the item being small and lightweight is also just going to help avoid headaches when you're starting out. And the next point is that the item is brandable and has no existing branding on it. So what I mean is that the item is just essentially, like, I don't want to say a knockoff, but kind of like what you would think of when you see a knockoff, where there's just no branding, it's just the item. And the reason you want to do this is because you want to leave yourself the opportunity in the future to be able to put your own branding on the item, so that way you can establish your own brand moving forward. And obviously you don't want to just be selling stuff with other random brand logos on there. And the next thing is that the items are non-fragile, and this is for the same reasoning as non-electronic and being small and lightweight. This is just so that way nothing gets broken during shipping, so you're just avoiding headaches and things like that. And obviously this is all stuff that you can do. As I said, the black ones are optional. They're just things that'll help you avoid headaches when you're just starting out. And the last one is that the items are relatively low cost, so under $30 to buy, so maybe you'd be selling them anywhere from $30 to $60, however much you want to sell them for. And the reasoning behind this is because usually it's just going to be a little bit harder to sell a higher priced item, a higher ticket item, and that's just because it's going to take more branding, better branding, and better marketing. So in the beginning, if you stick with lower priced items, it's not going to take as good of branding, but selling anything online in 2017 takes branding, so you're going to have to learn that either way. So now that we went through these characteristics, I'm just going to hop over to AliExpress and show a few examples, good and bad. Alright, so this first product here, you can see it's a 3D lamp, and it's of Darth Vader, so it's obviously Star Wars, so this first example is of a product that you probably don't want to sell because it's infringed, so there's a decent chance that you could get in trouble. And even if you don't get in trouble, it's still it's not a long-term play to be selling off of other people's brands without getting the licensing. So this is probably a product you should avoid. Now, if we go over here, you can see this is the same type of product as the 3D lamp, except this one is generic. It's just of a horse's head. It's not of a logo or anything. So this one would be okay to sell, that you could sell to people that like horses. However, this wouldn't meet all the characteristics that we had on the Word document, because you can see that this, being a 3D lamp, it's going to be fragile. So there's a higher chance that some of these might break. But since there's no branding on it and it's not infringed, this is something that could be sold. Just keep in mind that there is a higher chance that this is going to break. And another example, we're going to start with this one. So you can see this iPhone case here. If you wanted to sell iPhone cases, you can see it may look alright at first, but this logo down here makes me think there might be more branding to it. So if we scroll down and we look at their other photos, yeah, you can see right here they have a logo here that says Case Me and then their logo. So this isn't something I'd want to sell, even though this probably isn't like a, it's not like a huge brand like Apple cases or anything. It's probably just the name of the Chinese manufacturer, but I still wouldn't want to sell this because I wouldn't want to have to make my brand based around their name or anything like that. So I wouldn't want to sell this because it already has existing branding on it. So I would pass on this and look for another iPhone case, which brings us over to this iPhone case here. And as you can see, when we're looking at all of the photos, if we scroll down, you can see that there's no branding whatsoever in any of these photos. So this would be an easier product for you to establish your own brand around, or at the very least you wouldn't be pushing something with another brand on it. So this would be a better alternative for selling iPhone cases. And the last example in this video is just going to be this bird necklace. So jewelry is a very popular thing that a lot of people seem to sell, and it's because it meets pretty much all of the criteria on here. It's relatively low cost, it's not fragile, it's small and lightweight, it's not electronic, it's not infringed, and establishing a jewelry brand is pretty easy in the sense that you don't have to actually put your logo on the jewelry. You can just brand your shop and then just have these products in the shop. So that's why jewelry is a pretty popular avenue that a lot of people sell in now. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. And as I said, you don't have to follow all of these characteristics except the two in red you should always be following. You don't have to follow all the ones bulleted in black, but these are just more targeted towards people that are just starting out, that don't have as much selling experience. So the ones in black are just going to help you avoid headaches in the beginning, so you can start getting your process down and things like that. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you in another one.